Hey everyone, so I'm back with another video, and today I wanted to talk about remote access. I wanted to talk about remote access, specifically RustDesk. Now, we always, at some point in time, if you're running a business, if you're running something, or even for your home lab, you will require yourself to remote access into another PC. You might be using a main PC like I'm using right now, and you wanted to remote access into another PC to maybe do some work on it, but you didn't want to actually go ahead and, maybe the PC is in another room and you didn't want to actually go ahead to that room to actually access it. It's always easier to actually do a bit of remote access. Now, there are several different sort of options that we have for remote access. Let me actually move to that page. So look, frankly, the current solutions for native clients, right, is Windows RDP, for example. Then you've got VNC, which is a really popular software, right? So you got TeamViewer, which is great. I know TeamViewer is being used a lot by a lot of people. You've got AnyDesk. I know that you've got another one called Parsec that I don't have on my list over here, but I will talk about it. And then you've got RustDesk, right? RustDesk is the one that I'm actually using, and why I want to discuss why it's the one that I sort of prefer, right? So that is RustDesk. So just going back to my websites over here, I've got RustDesk, right? Which is what I wanted to talk about and highlight today. But just talking a little bit about the previous ones first, let's actually just go to Windows RDP, correct? Now, what is the problem with Windows? Windows is great when you want to remote access from one Windows PC to another. When one Windows PC is running Windows Pro and you want to access another one running Windows Pro, that's great. It doesn't work with Windows Home, right? So if you have Windows Home installed on your computer, it's not going to work. And that is the challenge. So, if you wanted to actually be able to use RDP successfully throughout all your Windows PCs, you would need to have a Windows Pro license, which actually does cost $200, right? So Windows, that's one of the caveats over there when it comes to just Windows in itself. Another challenge is Windows cannot remote into Macs. This is not native, right? So you need to install a Windows RDP client on Mac to enable your access from Windows to Mac, but then you're not going to get any audio. So that's another challenge over there, right? So uh, and then the last one is you can remote into Linux. If you're running a Linux distribution such as Ubuntu or Debian, you can remote into Linux using XRDP. So XRDP is a software that you can actually install on your Linux PC or your Linux computer, and that allows you to remote into Linux over Windows. Now, there are a few challenges. If you wanted to use Windows RDP and your computers are not on the same local network, you cannot do this natively. It doesn't allow you to remote access into computers that are maybe somewhere else in the world, right? Maybe they're not on your local network. You cannot do this. You will need some form of VPN, right? So that is Windows RDP, and that's why I don't like Windows RDP. It does have issues. It has caused me problems in the past. There is quite a bit of configuration. It doesn't always work great. Okay, so that's Windows RDP that I used to use and I don't use anymore. Now, another one I wanted to just go over is VNC. Now, VNC is another remote access client, and it can be used on all your systems. However, it is not open source, right? So VNC is not open source at all, and it is very, very difficult to install. Right. So when you want to actually install VNC, you do need to have a login and sign in, and it does go through some kind of a server. So your information is not encrypted as well when you're using VNC. So I've actually received messages when I've been using VNC from organizations where I'm at with my computer and I'm connecting over VNC, and I get a message from the security team telling me that, hey, your connection is not encrypted at all. It is completely open for anyone to view. So if anyone connects to that network, they can actually view your VNC connection, all the work that you're actually doing. So it is not secure. It is very laggy. VNC has got high latency, right? And it's very, very low on features. When it comes to audio, VNC is not very great. It doesn't pass through audio all the time, and it is a bit of a struggle. So VNC is out of the picture. We're not going to be using VNC, right? Now, another popular one that's used very, very often is TeamViewer. Now, TeamViewer is free to use for personal use, which is great. It's good for personal use, but you need to go through TeamViewer servers, right? So that's not really great because, if you wanted to be secure, you didn't want to really be having your information go through someone else's server, which is obviously a TeamViewer's servers, then TeamViewer is not the right solution, right? Another thing about TeamViewer, I understand it's free, but only for 45 minutes. After 45 minutes, it will cut you off. And then you got to reconnect, you got to reestablish the connection, right? So that is quite painful. You don't really want to be doing that either, correct? So that's the thing with TeamViewer. So I stopped using TeamViewer as well. I did use it a few times, but then I stopped using it. So you need something that can be self-hosted through your own servers for performance, right? You definitely do want that. Now, another thing that came up was AnyDesk. AnyDesk is also great, but if you want to host your own server, again, just like TeamViewer, it's a paid option, right? So AnyDesk is supposed to be really, really good, but it is a paid option. It's not free, okay? And so the one that I've actually been using is RustDesk. RustDesk, I really like RustDesk because number one, it's free, right? You can host your own servers for free. So if you're connecting to someone that's overseas, you can actually host your own RustDesk server and then go through that, right? So all your information is self-hosted. It is it's secure as you can secure your servers. That depends on you, but it is secure based on what no one's actually taking your information as long as you secure your server. It works over VPNs. I've tested it over Tailscale. It is wonderful over Tailscale. Latency is extremely low and it is GPU accelerated, right? That is really, really important. So if your computers or the other remote computer has a GPU, it does use that GPU as well to give you the optimal graphics or performance that you want. And there are a few things that you can actually change with TeamViewer as well. So it is customizable. Okay, so let's actually now just go through some of these links, right? So this was Windows. It was kind of telling me how to, use remote desktop on Windows. But like I mentioned, Windows only works with Windows Pro to Windows Pro, and it is quite difficult to actually get Windows working with Mac, for example. So that was not really a great option. VNC, like I discussed, it was quite difficult to use. Latency was high. This is the VNC website if you actually wanted to have a look at it. But at the same time, it wasn't very secure. It wasn't secure at all, actually, and it lacked features, right? Then TeamViewer. TeamViewer is used very often, but it is a commercial product. It is free to use for personal use, but you need to go through the TeamViewer servers. Then we had AnyDesk that we just discussed, which is great, but it's a paid option. And then Parsec is something that I didn't actually have on my list over there. But Parsec is great. Parsec apparently has got the lowest latency. So this is something that I surely do want to try out in the future. However, it is not free, but I believe you can host your own turn server for Parsec as well, especially if you're working in businesses that don't want your data to be sent to an external server or external company. You can host your own turn server, but the pricing is, it is not cheap, right? I mean, you can spend $8.33 USD a month, for your personal Parsec connection. Doesn't give you much over there. If you want to go into Teams, you want multiple people to be using it, it is $30 a month. So just keep that in mind. And enterprise, right, it is $45 a month. So so those are the prices for Parsec. But I have heard good things about Parsec, so I will be trying that at some stage as well, especially for low latency gaming, or if you want to be recording. You're doing remote recording sessions. That Parsec is supposed to be really good for that. But today we're going to talk about RustDesk, right? So RustDesk, as I mentioned, it is free. You can host your own server for free as well. It is open source, works over Tailscale, and GPU accelerated. Right, that's great. That's great. Let's actually get right into installing RustDesk. And I just want to show you the process of how you can actually use the multiple ways that you can actually use RustDesk. Right, so let's dive right into that. Okay, great. So I actually have RustDesk installed on my computer right here. Okay, so I already do have RustDesk installed, but what you can do is you can actually go ahead and install RustDesk by going to, you could actually go to docs, and the main client repository is on GitHub, so you can actually go to GitHub and you can go ahead and install RustDesk, right? So if you actually go to GitHub, and I'll have the links in the description, scroll down and go to binary download. And here you go. So you want to make sure that you install your the RustDesk binary. Now, I did install the MSI version because that will have a full install on your computer. The EXE, I believe, is a portable version of RustDesk, and this is specifically for x86-64 for Windows, right? So just make sure that if you want a full install, you download the MSI version. Once you download the MSI version, you just follow the prompts just like any other Windows application, and that will install RustDesk on your Windows PC, which is great, right? So they do have versions for Ubuntu, Mac, Android as well, iOS as well. So you can actually install RustDesk on your mobile phone, and then you can also go Mac and Android on any of your Android phones. You've got a download option as well. You can have a Arch Android or even an ARM-based Android phone, and you can actually get it. And because it's ARM as well, we are going to try and install it on an ARM-based single board computer, the Orange Pi 03. All right, so let's actually get started. Now that I've actually downloaded RustDesk already, I do have it running on my computer. Okay, so like I mentioned, this is my main computer that I'm actually using, my primary computer that I'm going to use to remote access into other devices. And this is the computer that I'm actually recording this YouTube video with. Okay, great. So now that we've got that out of the way, the entire idea is to actually have RustDesk client running on your main computer. And then you wanted to have the same RustDesk client running on your remote computer as well. So in order for me to get RustDesk installed on my remote computer, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to first use Windows RDP, and I'm going to RDP into that remote computer first and actually have RustDesk installed over there. So right before I do that, as you can see over here, I do have RustDesk installed. It's given me the RustDesk ID. I've got a RustDesk password. And then it does say at the bottom, like, ready, but for faster connection, please set up your own server. So, you can use their own their RustDesk servers as well, but it does actually let you know that if you want faster connections, it's best to set up your own server, right? So let's actually, without further ado, let's actually get into it, and let's go ahead and install RustDesk into the remote system that I do want to remote access. Okay, great. So now I'm RDP, so now I'm actually now connected to an external computer. As you can see, I'm using Windows RDP for this, and I'm connected to a remote computer that's just, on my local LAN at the moment. Correct? So what we want to do first is go ahead and install RustDesk on this computer. Okay, so now I'm RDP'd into the remote machine that I'm going to install RustDesk on. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is go to my previous machine, copy the URL, and I can do a Control-C over there. Go back to my remote Windows PC. I'm going to open up Chrome, paste it, and open up the site. Now, mind you, this remote PC is a low-powered Windows PC. I'm running the N100 on this. It is specifically for running a 24/7 OBS system, but I will talk about that later on. Okay, so we definitely want to install the MSI version, like I mentioned before. So I'm going to go ahead and download that file. I believe I already do have it downloaded. I'm going to take a look at my downloads just to make sure that I already have it downloaded. So there you go. I had downloaded the installer earlier this month. I just want to make sure that I'm just going to have a look at the properties of this previous file just to make sure it is the MSI, right? So it's the install package. So we're going to use the latest one that I've downloaded, and I'm going to go ahead and run that. Perfect. So now RustDesk is installed on this computer. And as you can see, I do have a client that's actually started up. And I'm going to go ahead and just make sure these were old addresses. I'm going to remove them. So when I remove, so I had actually done a trial before and I had created my own server as well. But what I want to do is have a fresh system right for you over here. So as you can see, now that I've removed the previous relay server details, I have a fresh system of RustDesk. It says ready, but for faster connection, please set up your own server, right? So that's great. So that's what RustDesk is telling us. So now we have RustDesk installed on this remote system. Okay, I can take note of the ID. Great. So I'm going to take note of this ID. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my current RustDesk. And I'm going to enter the remote ID. Great. So I've entered the password. And now, as you can see, I'm remoted into RustDesk on my remote PC. Great. Perfect. So all I needed to do was enter this ID. And then when I connect, it asked me for the password, and this is the password that I entered on my machine. Now, this is obviously through their server, so it's not that quick. But hey, if you wanted to use their servers, you can surely do this. Now, what I like to do is go ahead and say scale adapted, and that will stop the little motion over there. And yeah, this is essentially connecting to RustDesk over the RustDesk servers, which is great. Now, what we're interested in doing is we're interested in connecting to RustDesk from our own server, right? So that's the main thing. That's really what we want to do in this case. Okay, so in order for me to connect, using a direct IP access, I don't really want to be using their servers. I want to be using direct IP access. So that's the first thing that I want to do. We want to go, so this is a remote PC, all right? So we want to go to our own, we want to go here first. We want to go to, click on the three dots right here. And then we want to go to security settings. We want to go unlock security settings and just say yes. And now what we want to do is enable direct IP access. So you want to make sure that the direct IP access is enabled in security. Okay, great. So now I have the RustDesk client installed on a remote computer. And I have used the ID and I've actually connected directly, but I've connected through the RustDesk relay server, right? So now what I want to do is make sure that, the first thing I want to set up is direct IP connection. And so all you need to do is click on the three dots right over here, and this is what you'll come up with, right? In general, click on security. And once you're in security, make sure that these are all enabled. Make sure that enable remote configuration modification is enabled as well. Great. So once you've got all that enabled, scroll further down and enable RDP session sharing and enable direct IP access. So make sure you enable both of these and use the port, which is 21118. Right, that is the default port that RustDesk uses for connections, for direct IP connections specifically. So you just make sure that's enabled, and scroll back up. And when you receive the security page, you will require to unlock security settings. So if it does ask you to do that, just unlock it. There's no harm in doing that. So go ahead and do that. And then while we're here, you've also got a network. So I just wanted to kind of highlight, you've also got a network tab which we'll be working on later on. So at the moment, if I click on the relay, everything is empty. So when it's all empty, it will use the RustDesk relay, which is currently being used. Now go back home, and all I'm going to do now is go ahead and close this session. because this is currently across their RustDesk relay. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And now what we want to do is do a direct IP connection. So rather than adding the RustDesk client details, I'm going to go ahead and add the IP address of the computer that I'm actually connecting to. Okay, so now we're going to connect over direct IP, and you got to make sure that you are on the same network as your remote computer. And like we set up, I'm going to go ahead and click connect, and it is asking me for the password, and the password is the one that we set earlier. I'm going to go ahead and say okay, and connection successful, right? So that's great. So now I'm connected IP to IP. Definitely the latency is a lot lower. I'm going to go back over here and scale adapted. And yeah, so this is a direct connection, but as you can see, there's a little warning away there, just to say direct and unencrypted connection fingerprint, right? So it does actually tell me that this is unencrypted. This is just over my LAN. This is not over there's not over the internet, this connection. However, it is unencrypted connection. So that is information over here. So now I am connected to the remote computer, but direct IP to IP. And look, this might be enough for people, correct? This might be enough for you to use, and that's perfectly fine. So just to go over a few settings of what I did. So on the remote computer, while I was RDP'd, I make sure that I went to security, and I made sure that all these are checkmarked, including enable remote configuration modification. I went down, I set a password, I set a permanent password. So this will allow me to connect unattended systems that don't have anyone there to actually accept the connection. This just gives me that opportunity to do that. And then make sure that you have enabled direct IP access, and you've put in the port of 2118 and apply. And that gives you direct IP access like we've done right now across your LAN. Great. So that's what we've done. And we've done this we need to do that on both the connections, right? So we've done it on this one. And as you can see, I'll go back to my main RustDesk on my main computer. And I've done the same thing over here. I've gone ahead to security, made sure that all these are enabled. And I've also enabled direct IP access with port 2118. Enable RDP session sharing, remote desktop protocol sharing. So that's great. All right, so that's all done, and I've connected to my IP address. And this is what we have at the moment. So this is my remote computer. Perfect. So now this shows us that we can connect using RustDesk on our local LAN from one computer to another. Correct? Now I'm going to actually do the same thing on my Linux PC, my Linux ARM-based computer. Right? So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. So now what I've done so far is I've actually gone ahead and done a Windows RDP session into my Ubuntu system that's running on my Orange Pi 5 Plus. So this is an ARM-based system, just to let you know. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do when I open one of these is I'm going to go ahead and update it and upgrade it. Excellent. So now we've had the system do an update and an upgrade. And now let's actually go ahead and see how we can actually install RustDesk on this ARM PC. Okay, so now I do have it being installed. So I can leave the commands to actually install RustDesk on your Ubuntu ARM PC. I'll leave the commands in the description, so you'll actually have those. But I've gone ahead and installed it. And once you've installed RustDesk on your computer, it should actually show up in your applications right here, as you can see. And I'm going to give this ARM PC a restart. Okay, so now that I've actually gone ahead and installed RustDesk on the remote PC, I'm going to go ahead, open it up, and let's actually go ahead and remote into it. Let's go ahead and open up RustDesk. We are getting a warning here saying Wayland support is in experimental stage. Please use X11. I'm going to actually click on that help button just to see what happens. Okay, and nothing happens. That's fine. Look, let's try this out anyway. What we want to do is do the same thing as we've done before for other applications. Click on that little line. Go to security, unlock, security settings, pop in my password, authenticate. Great. Now we want to make sure that we enable remote configuration modification because that's what we want to do. We want to use both, but we want to set a permanent password. Great. Okay. We've done that. Enable direct IP access to 1118. Apply. Now the IP address of this computer is, I've got a local is 192.168.8.181. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to try going back to my home over here, and I'm going to try connecting to that one. I have closed RustDesk. Let's see if it actually does connect. Okay, it does. Excellent. And I'm going to pop in the password. Right, okay, so this is the challenge, right? Because I'm still RDP'd into it. What I'm going to go ahead and do is cancel. And I'm going to go ahead and close the RDP session. And we're going to try again. We're going to connect, pop in our password. Okay, so now that I've got RustDesk installed on my Windows PC, and I've also got it installed on my Orange Pi 5 Plus, which is an ARM-based Linux PC. Now I'm just going to demonstrate and show you how I can actually remote in now into the ARM-based PC, because I don't think that was there in the previous section. So let me go ahead and do that. So now look, just mind you, this is a direct IP to IP connection that I'm connecting with to my local IP addresses of these two systems. The next step is actually installing the server. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So the IP address, the local LAN IP address of my Linux ARM PC is 192.168.8.181. That's great. And I'm going to go ahead and connect. And it's going to ask me for the password. And I'm going to pop in the password over there. And I'm going to say OK. Now, it does give you a bit of a Wayland message. But as long as you do configure it correctly, that Wayland message will disappear. And the Wayland message is more about screen share, right? So we've gone ahead and done that. This is pretty good. So now I'm remoted in. I can actually go ahead and open up applications, connection error. All right. So we do get those sort of messages when you are connecting with Linux. It is experimental. I'm also on ARM, which is even more experimental, right? But this is Linux and it is working fine. You know, I can go ahead and open up my terminal as well on Linux. Go ahead and do that. It might give me a few errors from time to time, but you know, we gotta experiment. We gotta tweak the system and play with the system until we can get that fixed, right? But it's working great for now. So that is great. So now I'm remoted into my Linux system, and I'm gonna go ahead and show you remoting into my Windows PC. I believe the address was 115. Connect. And I've used the same password for both. So here I am, my Windows PC. Excellent. So now I'm connected to my Windows PC over here. As you can see, RustDesk is connected. I am connected over RustDesk to my Windows PC. And again, like I mentioned, this is a unsecure connection because we are connecting to direct IP. We're not using a relay, so it is not secure. Now, the next step really in this training or this tutorial is about setting up that RustDesk relay on our own private relay, so we don't have to worry about connecting over RustDesk's relay, and we can use our own and have secure connections. Okay, now to give you some more information about this. The relay, the server that you need, is not meant to be, you don't really need a big server. So the server that I'm using has just got one CPU cores, a single core, and 1 gig of RAM. That's all you need, because the relay essentially just takes information and passes it through. It does not actually encode any sort of video, right? So it doesn't require a beefy system. Now you could use a cloud system, like literally what I'm using over here is an Oracle Cloud instance. You could use an Oracle Cloud instance and you can actually get that for free. And with Oracle Cloud, you do get 2 CPU cores and 2 gigs of RAM for free. So you could build one instance of 2 CPU cores, or you could just build 2 instances of 1 core and 1 gig of RAM each, is what I've actually done. Great. Anyhow, so this is what I've got over here. I'm logged into my Oracle Cloud server, but you could use any cloud server, right? You could use Linode, you could use AWS. You could also host it on a Raspberry Pi, which I may make that video at some point, right? But at the moment, all we've done is I've remoted and I've created a instance on Oracle Cloud, which is 1 CPU core, 1 GB of RAM, and I've remoted into that system. Correct? So the first thing I'm going to do is update and upgrade the Oracle Cloud server. So that's a sudo apt update and a sudo apt upgrade, and I'm going to hit Y, and I'm going to let that upgrade. Excellent. So now that my instance has been updated and upgraded, what we want to do next is install Docker. Now, this instance of mine already has Docker installed, but what I will go ahead and do, and I will leave those notes in my description so you can actually have the show notes. You can have the link to my wiki that has all the instructions on how to install Docker, right? So now I've gone ahead and installed Docker on the system, and the next thing that we want to do is install RustDesk. Now, the best way to install RustDesk is to use Docker Compose. So what I suggest you do is create a folder called RustDesk. So you would go mkdir RustDesk, and you would hit enter. I've already done that, so I'm actually not going to hit enter over here. And once you have created a folder called RustDesk, you can go cd and into RustDesk and hit enter. And now once you cd into that, what you want to do is create a YAML file, which is a Docker Compose YAML file. So in order to create a Docker Compose YAML file, you would want to go sudo nano docker compose.yml. So when you actually do this, it's going to create a file called docker-compose.yml. This is what we need, and we're going to give our server a set of instructions in this file to enable the download and installation of the RustDesk server, right? So I'm actually going to go to it, and I've already got the information in there, which again I will leave in the description. But this is really all you need. The actual there are actually two containers that it will install. It'll install the handshake container and the actual RustDesk container. So there are two containers that it will install. You want to make sure that you go ahead and just copy and paste this into this YAML file when it opens, and then hit a Control X and save and close it out. And that's all you really need to do. Now, once you've done that, you should have a Docker Compose YAML file right here, as you can see on my screen. So you should have the same file in your RustDesk folder. Great. So now the next step over here is to make sure that Docker Compose is up and running. So right now I do have another application, another Docker container that's running, but I don't have RustDesk installed as yet. So I can actually demonstrate that by going sudo docker ps. And as you can see right now, I only have another container that's running on this server. So I've actually got two containers that I'm going to be running on the server, and they're super lightweight, and there's one core, one CPU core and 1 GB of RAM is more than enough to run 2 to 3 Docker containers, right? So this one is this container actually is my SRTLA relay server where I can live stream using a Bella box onto my home and then to Twitch and so on and so forth. And I've got another video coming off that. But that's the only container that I've got running over here. So what I'm actually going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and run this Docker Compose file, and we can see it download the image from Docker and go ahead and install the relay. So in order to do that, we want to use this command. So we want to go sudo, and we want to go docker compose up -d. And what that'll actually do, it'll go ahead and reach out to Docker over the internet, download the container files and go ahead and install it. And the -d actually makes it run in the background in daemon mode. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And as you can see now, it's a really small file. It's going in and pulling the files up, and that's really it. It is done. So now we know that my Docker for RustDesk is installed, and it is started as well. So now if I go ahead and find it, you'll see that I have two more containers that are running now. Great. That's awesome. So now my my RustDesk relay is installed. Excellent. So now what I want to do is I want to point my RustDesk application that's running on this computer and all my other client computers. I want to point them to this relay server. So that means they will use this relay server to do the entire handshake, and it will not be going through current public RustDesk servers that they're currently configured to. Great. So now in order for me to do this, you want to open up your RustDesk client on your main PC. Click on the three dots that we've been clicking on before. Go to Network. Unlock your network. And click on ID Relay. Now what we want to do here is we want to put in the IP address of your server that you're using. You want to put that IP address in here and in here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to hide my IP address because this is a relay server I'm going to be using. Right, so once you have your IP address put into the ID server and the relay server, the key. Now this is really important. We need to get the key from your server, right? So in order, how do we do that? I'm going to click OK, and I'm going to minimize. Now, what we want to do, we want to do an ls, and you see this data folder. We want to cd into the data folder and do an ls. Now, there is a file called id_ed255. So in my case, it's a .pub file. That's the one you need to find. You want to do a cat, and you want to cat this file. So that'll allow you to see the contents of this file. And there you go. And that is actually your key. So your key will look different from mine, but your key is everything until the equal to, including the equal to sign. That's what you want to do. You want to copy that. So you want to copy that key, and you want to go back to your RustDesk network, and the key, you want to paste that key in there. Just make sure that there are no spaces, right, on the key, and you want to press OK, right, and it says successful. Now, when you actually go to your RustDesk, it will stop saying ready, but, use a different connection. It'll stop saying that. Right, so now we're actually connected to the relay of this system. Right, now we want to do the same thing to our other computers as well. So I'm going to go ahead and remote in direct IP to IP. I'm not going to use the relay for now, but I'm going to remote in direct IP to IP into the Windows PC. And as you can see, it still tells me that it's insecure connection because I am connected just over my LAN, direct local IP to local IP address. But we want to do the same thing in this RustDesk client. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this RustDesk client. I'm going to click on the three dots again. And I'm going to go to Network, unlock the network settings. Excellent. Go back to the relay. And I'm going to paste my server's IP address right in here. And I'm going to go back to my server, and I'm going to copy my key, including the email address, including the equal to symbol. Go back to RustDesk, and I'm going to paste the key again right over here. Perfect. I've got that. I'm going to press OK, and that's successful. Now, if I go back home, it's going to tell me the same thing. The entire message of connecting to a server has disappeared. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and copy the ID of this. Copy. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and close my connection. So now what we're going to try and do is use the relay server to connect. So rather than using the actual local IP address, I'm going to paste the ID of my remote PC, and I'm going to go ahead and hit connect. And it's there again, it's going to ask me for the same password, and I can actually go ahead and use the permanent password that I've set up. Okay. And there we are. And now this is super low latency. As you can see, I find this even lower latency. Great. So now we are connected, and as you can see on the top, it says that direct and encrypted connection fingerprint. So now we are connected over my relay that I've actually set up. So that's great. That's perfect. So now I'm connected over the relay to this other Windows PC. And look, guys, I'm going to do exactly the same thing for my Linux PC. And let's see my little ARM SBC, and let's see how it works, right? So let's close this one off. Great. Okay. And I've still got my ARM SBC running. So we're going to go ahead and connect to it directly first. Excellent. So now I'm connected to the Windows PC. Let's go ahead and open up the RustDesk. Excellent. So now I've managed to open up my window. All I did was I went to RustDesk and I said open new window. And I went ahead and opened up the application window on RustDesk. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to click on these 3 buttons. And as you can see, we're still, at the moment, we're connected IP to IP direct just over my local LAN. So we're still unencrypted. But we want to make sure that we are connecting using an encrypted system. So I'm going to actually change this to dark. I kind of prefer the dark theme. I'm going to go ahead to security. I'm going to unlock. Great. So now I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I've already set up my one-time password. I'm going to go to network, unlock network as well. Authenticate. Excellent. Now what we want to do is we want to do exactly the same thing here. I'm going to take my IP address of my server. I'm going to paste it in there. And we also want the key. Just the equal to sign. Come back over here. And I'm going to paste that key right in here. And I'm going to click OK. Successful. Back over here. Now, here on the Ubuntu server as well, it says that it is ready. So now this is connected to the actual relay as well, which is perfect. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this off. And I'm going to close this connection as well. Great. So now I've got my ID of my Linux PC. I'm going to hit connect. And there you go. It's asked me for the password. I'm going to use the same password and I'm going to say OK. There we go. So now, as you can see, it is a secure connection onto my Linux PC. We can go ahead and say scale. And now we've scaled, so it'll stop moving. And that's really it, guys. That is connecting to a Windows PC and a Ubuntu Linux PC over RustDesk over our own relay. So that's excellent. That's all that we've done. And you can do the same thing using the Mac as well, right? So that's perfect. Guys, all the notes for this video is going to eventually be in the description of this video. I will leave my wiki so you guys can actually take a look at it right over there. And all the information will be there on how to go about this, including obviously the video, of course. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment them in the comment section. Please give it a like, subscribe. That really motivates me to continue making these videos. And that's really it. Thanks for watching. See ya.